Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudiraye Nashtaprayeshu Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavate Ruttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naistiki Om Ajnanathimirandrasya Gnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Mena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Preshthaya Bhutale Shrimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Nityanamini Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Srimad Bhagavatam Canto 4 Chapter 8 Verse 25. नारदस्तद् उपाकर्ण्य ज्ञात्वा तस्य चिकीर्षितम् पृष्ट्वा मूर्धन्यगह्नेन पाणिना प्राह विस्मितः. The great sage Narada overheard this news and understanding all the activities of Dhruva Maharaj, he was struck with wonder. He approached Dhruva and touching the boy's head with his all virtuous hand, Hari Hari, he spoke as follows. Narada blesses Dhruva by touching his head. So fortunate. When Dhruva Maharaj was talking with his mother Suniti of all the incidents that had taken place in the palace, Narada was not present. Thus the question may be raised how Narada overheard all these topics. The answer is Narada is Trikalagna. He is so powerful that he can understand the past, present, and future of everyone's heart. Just like the super soul, Supreme Person of Godhead. The pure devotees are also as powerful. Therefore, after understanding the strong determination of Dhruva Maharaj, Narada came to help him. May be explained in this way. Supreme Personality of Godhead is present in everyone's heart. And as soon as he understands that a living entity is serious about entering devotional service, he sends his representative. So this is very important. This is the first mercy of Krishna towards the sincere jiva, that he sends his representative. In this way, Narada was sent to Dhruva Maharaj. This is explained in Chaitanya Charitamrita, Guru Krishna Prasade Pai Bhakti Lata Bija. By the grace of the spiritual master and Krishna, one can enter into devotional service. Because of Dhruva Maharaj's determination, Krishna, the super soul, immediately sent his representative Narada to initiate him. Yeah. So this is the first thing. Pure devotees all have amazing power. I mean, they have Ashtasiddhis. Prabhupada says that they don't display it. They're not interested in displaying their power. And they're simply interested in serving Krishna. That's all. Yeah, and many times we might think that how our guru knows, what we are doing or what we are thinking or whatever, right? So, Yasya prasadat bhagat prasado. So by him being pleased, Lord Krishna is pleased. Now, does that mean that I have to go and talk about my activities myself to Guru? No. Prabhupada is explaining here. Paramatma is in everyone's heart. So he will take care. Whatever communication needs to happen will happen. Because pure devotees, gurus, they're all pure devotees. So uh, Paramatma directly, Krishna directly controls their thoughts, all their senses. So Paramatma can very easily communicate whatever. And this used to happen so many times with, with all gurus, but specifically Srila Prabhupada, disciples have recounted so many times that it looked like Prabhupada exactly knew what they were thinking. So yeah, Paramatma is there and Paramatma communicates. So we should never, that is why we should never think of Guru as an ordinary person. So whatever comes out of the lotus mouth of Guru is absolutely relevant and most important for us. But we kind of, if we tend to look at him on the material platform or think of him as our friend, then it's not going to help. Actually, we have to see the Guru only as preceptor, as an instructor, as a guide, as a person who is directing us. Friend means Arjuna and Krishna's conversations before in the first chapter, where Arjuna was bewildered. So if we just take Guru as a friend, then we will be bewildered because we will never take advice. And Arjuna, same situation. He was not taking advice from Krishna. He was just giving reasoning, arguments, why he is not going to do whatever he is decided. So then, we'll go to Guru and say, FYI, Guru Maharaj, FYI. This is for your information, meaning, yeah, just like one of us. But that's very offensive, actually. It's actually Guru Ravagya. Mm. Mm. So we have to be very careful dealing with spiritual authorities, dealing with exalted pure devotees, gurus. Could be Diksha Guru, could be Siksha Guru. We have to be very careful. We can't just take things very lightly. So, and Paramatma guides sincere soul. Mm. So we have to trust that. Of course, we also have to discriminate. Like yesterday we were discussing, right? So there has to be thoughtful discrimination. Mm. So we have to think and then understand and then act. Mm. But yeah, Krishna will show the first mercy by sending a jiva to his representative. Yeah. अहो तेज क्षत्रियाणां मानभङ्गम् अमृष्यताम् बालोऽप्ययं हृदा धत्ते यत्समातुर्रसद्वचः. How wonderful are the powerful Kshatriyas! They cannot tolerate even a slight infringement upon their prestige. Just imagine, this boy is only a small child, yet harsh words from his stepmother proved unbearable to him. The qualifications of the Kshatriyas are described in Bhagavad Gita. Two important qualifications are to have a sense of prestige and not to flee from battle. So, of course, nowadays maybe Kshatriyas will have only one of these qualities, sense of prestige. But nobody really wants to fight, nobody really wants to stand for dharma. Then they are no Kshatriyas. They're Kshatriyas in name only. Then they become Dvija, like Dvijas only. Mm. So yeah, so if yeah, Kshatriya can have a sense of pride, prestige, right? But he cannot flee from battle. It appears that the Kshatriya blood within the body of Dhruva was naturally very active. The Brahminical Kshatriya or Vaishya culture is maintained in a family. Naturally, the sons and grandsons inherit the spirit of that particular class. Therefore, according to the Vedic system, the sanskara or the reformatory system is maintained very rigidly. If one fails to observe the reformatory measures current in the family, one is immediately degraded to a lower standard of life, and which is what has happened in Kali Yuga. That all the samskaras given up, and then slowly Brahminical people have come to, of course, no Kshatriyas, mostly either Vaishyas or Shudras directly, and then now going even further down to Chandala. So sanskaras are very, very important, at least non-devotees. Those who are not devotees should follow all the sanskaras, and devotees also have to follow some very, very important sanskaras like Garbhadan samskara, Vivaha, uh, for boys, the Upakarma, and what is the thread ceremony, right? So, and Shraddha. Shraddha is, of course, we don't do the Smartha Vidhi. Um, we should do just offer Krishna Prasad, right, to the departed soul, and then serve Vaishnavas by um, distributing prasadam. That's all. There's nothing else which is required. Uh, Sometimes we become overly Vedic, and on the other end, we don't want to follow any other rules. So it's all like topsy-turvy. On one end, we want to see, we will see whatever we call panchang for date, time, for doing certain things. On the other end, we don't follow important rules. So all kinds of things are there. We should always be in the mood of sarvadharman parityaja, meaning for executing devotional service, we don't have to look at any other consideration, meaning Vedic considerations, or to be more specific, right? Like we are going for preaching, we don't have to look at this Rahu Kala and this and that and all that. That is all not required. That is not Sarvadharman Parityajya. Right? If you have to go to preach, go whatever time, doesn't matter. Right? Of course, then for personal practices, we have to follow rules. Mm. So so these have to be understood nicely. It's like Prabhupada keeps giving this example of bone of an animal is considered impure, but a conch is kept within the altar. So it's like this. So we have to know what to follow, what not to follow, right? Or what is actually indicative of surrender and what is indicative of niyamagraha, breaking rules. So we have to understand by proper guidance from uh, senior Vaishnavas, and then follow those which are required. So that is why even Daivi Varnashrama means whatever is favorable for Krishna consciousness should be followed, and whatever is not favorable should not be followed. Um, yeah, so we have to be careful. So Shraddha is useful. Shraddha is very useful for the departed soul, because in case they are in a bad state because of their karma, they can get benefit of Krishna Prasada. So we should definitely, it's one of our responsibilities for more than saying ancestors, yeah, like jivas, but yeah, in whose family lineage we have come. We are trying to do benefit to all jivas by preaching, by distributing prasadam, by giving Hare Krishna. Similarly, for departed souls, we can do this. Of course, we don't have the Vedic system doesn't allow us to give the benefit to departed souls who are not in our family. So we will at least give it for those who are in the family. And then we make other people, when we make other people Krishna conscious and they offer, uh, Krishna Prasad to their ancestors, then their ancestors are also benefited. So like this, somehow those who are present, those who are not present, everybody should be benefited with Krishna consciousness. Narada Vacha. Nadhunapyavamanam te sammanam vapi putraka lakshayamah kumarasya saktasya kridanadishu. Great, says Narada told Dhruva, my dear boy, you're only a little boy whose attachment is to sports and other frivolities. Why are you so affected by words insulting your honor? Ordinarily, if a child is rebuked as a fool, rascal or fool, he smiles and does not take such insulting words very seriously. Similarly, words of honor are offered, he does not appreciate them. But in the case of Dhruva, the Kshatriya spirit was so strong that he could not tolerate a slight insult from his stepmother, which injured his Kshatriya prestige. विकल्पे विद्यमानेऽपि न ह्यसन्तोषहेतवः पुंसो मोहं मृते भिन्ना यल्लोके निजकर्मभिः. My dear Dhruva, if you feel that your sense of honor has been insulted, you still have no cause for dissatisfaction. This kind of dissatisfaction is another feature of the illusory energy. Every living entity is controlled by his previous actions, and therefore there are different varieties of life for enjoying or suffering. Mm. In the Vedas, it is said that the living entity is always uncontaminated and unaffected by material association. Hmm. The living entity gets different types of material bodies because of his previous fruitive actions. If, however, one understands the philosophy that as a living spirit, soul has an affinity for neither suffering nor enjoyment, then is considered to be a liberated person. Yeah, so this one is important to understand. Jiva is always uncontaminated and unaffected. I mean, constitutionally. Constitutionally, it is uncontaminated and unaffected. But by choice, now we want the contamination, right? So though it's not like directly affecting the soul, it's like a covering around the soul, which makes the consciousness polluted. Though the soul itself is uncontaminated, because soul is part and parcel of Krishna, which is spiritual. But the willingness to enjoy independent of Krishna, the desire of the soul, will create a material contamination. So it result in a contamination which kind of covers the soul. It's like a it's like a diamond covered by dust. It's like that. So the diamond itself is pure, right? But it's covered by dust, so it can't display its effulgence. So it's like that. Soul, by definition, is uncontaminated. But because of the desire to rot in this material world, we are covered by material contamination, which results in contaminated consciousness. But however, if one understands that as a living entity has an affinity, he has an affinity for neither suffering nor enjoyment, then he is mukta, brahmabhuta prasannatma. When one is actually situated on the transcendental platform, he has nothing for which to lament and nothing for which to hanker. This is what living human beings do all the time, either lament or hanker, lament or hanker. Now the Rishi first of all wanted to impress upon Dhruva that he was only a child. He should not have been affected by the words of insult or honor. And if he were so developed as to understand honor or insult, then his understanding should have been applied in his own life. He should have known that honor and dishonor are both destined only by one's previous actions. Therefore, one should not be sorry or happy under any circumstances. So, Naradaman is saying you should not be insulted. If you are become so big that you are insulted, then you also know that this is all karma phala. Mm. Why are you being dissatisfied? Mm. परितुष्ये ततस्तात तावन्मात्रेण पुरुषः दैवोपसादितं यावद् वीक्षेश्वर gatim kudaha. Process of the Supreme Personality of Godhead is very wonderful. One who is intelligent should accept accept that process and be satisfied with whatever comes, favorable or unfavorable, by Supreme Will. Great sage Narada instructed Dhruva that one should be satisfied in all circumstances. This is so important. Everyone who is intelligent should know that because of our concept of bodily existence, we are subjected to suffering and enjoyment. So one should be satisfied in all circumstances doesn't mean that one's just satisfied with, oh, okay, I'm not able to do 16 rounds chanting every day. I'm satisfied in my circumstance. Not that material circumstance, right? Suffering or enjoyment in the material world, we should just be okay, whatever it is, it's supreme will, and just accept. One who is in the transcendental portion beyond the concept of bodily life is considered to be intelligent. One who is a devotee especially accepts all reverses as gifts of the Supreme Lord. One is a devotee, Prabhupada is saying. So if you don't accept all reverses as gifts of Supreme Lord, can't be called a devotee. When a devotee is put into distress, he accepts this as God's mercy and offers him repeated obeisances with mind, body, and intellect. Have we done this anytime? When we are put into distress, when everything is going fine, it's okay. We will do all this. We will offer repeated obeisances. Thank Krishna. Also in the middle, ask for more. But when one is put into distress, he will go to Krishna and say, "Why Krishna? Why have you done this to me?" But he's not going to go repeated offer obeisances, body, mind, intellect. He is in a rebellious mood. So intelligent person therefore should be always satisfied depending on the mercy of the Lord. Tattenu kampasu shamiksham. So we have to just be patiently waiting. Okay, whenever Krishna gives mercy, I will take it. Till then, okay, I'm suffering. Okay, this is fine. But our situation, I mean, it's my life's experience. I keep experiencing this every day. Mm. Now we keep thinking, okay, this is my problem. Okay, maybe at least this one little thing, if it gets solved, it's good. That's how we are. We are never satisfied. Maybe, yeah, previously we would have said, no, 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 this whole thing has to be solved. This has to be solved. That also has something, right? We want like some uh, everything to be pakka. Now, okay, in devotional service, after many years, we understand that, oh, okay, no, not everything we are going to get. What we want, we won't get. Okay, but it's say, no, no, okay, everything not required. Maybe one this little thing. Like that, we have to make progress to reach a stage. We will not even ask that little thing. We'll just say, I'm happy, whatever Krishna wants. And if there are reverses, we accept them as gifts. Why gifts? Because it's all helping us to become closer to Krishna. So it's a gift. Because when we are helpless, what do? We lift both our hands and call out to Krishna for help. Then we become dear to Krishna. Krishna knows that, okay, we are his devotee, but because of previous conditioning, because of suffering, whatever, you know, we might not be completely serving him to the required extent. But when there are difficulties, we will go to him crying. Krishna will say, okay, come. This is what I want. I want you to come to me. Why are you not coming to me? Of course, Krishna doesn't want us to come to him with problems and crying. But what else? I mean, that is our fallen state. So at least when there are reverses, pure devotees will think, pure devotees, of course, they don't even bother. But at least sincere devotees will go to Krishna. And then they will develop bond, love. There'll be a more deeper relationship that will get established. All these things are okay. We might not take these things seriously if things are going okay in our life. These purports have to be really given attention because no guarantee that things will not go wrong. But we have to just be dependent on Krishna and wait for mercy. And yeah, when there is distress, we offer more. We have to make sure that we offer repeated obeisances with body, mind, intellect. हतमात्रोपदिष्ठेन यगेन योगेन वरुरुत्ससि यत्प्रसादं स वै पुंसां दुराराध्यो मतो mama. Now you've decided to undertake the mystic process of meditation under the instruction of your mother just to achieve the mercy of the Lord. But in my opinion, such austerities are not possible for any ordinary man. Now he's discouraging. Till now he said, why are you dissatisfied? Just be satisfied. Everything is happening by Lord's will. It's just a material reversal. Don't have to get too worked up. Mm. Then he's further testing. He's saying, yeah, you want to do dhyana? No, no, no. It's not for every person. Very difficult. Very difficult to satisfy the Supreme Lord. The process of Bhakti Yoga is simultaneously very difficult and very easy. Sri Narada Muni, Supreme Spiritual Master, is testing Dhruva to see how determined he is to prosecute devotional service. This is a process of accepting a disciple. See, testing. Of course, nowadays, if gurus start testing disciples, maybe they'll not have any disciples at all. We are all not so qualified. The great said Narada has come to Dhruva under the direction of the Supreme Person of Godhead just to initiate him. Yet he is testing Dhruva Maharaj's determination to execute the process. Actually, the whole process is to make sure that the disciple is at least surrendered. That is the test that the guru would want to exercise. Not testing their qualification because there's no qualification. That is why we are going to guru for his instructions. But so the guru should ideally test surrender sincerity of the disciple and then give him instructions for his progress. So Narada Muni is testing. It is a fact, however, that for a sincere person, devotional service is very easy. See, please note. Very easy. But for one who is not determined and sincere, this process very. So all our questions of easy, difficult is answered in this one line by Srila Prabhupada. So anytime we anything comes to our mind saying that, oh no, this is not possible, that's not possible, just remember this. For a sincere person, it's easy, very easy. Prabhupada is. For a person who is not determined and not sincere, it's very difficult. It's interesting to think about this. For a sincere person, Prabhupada has not put for a sincere and determined person. You observe. For a sincere person, it is very easy. For who is not determined and so not sincere, process is very difficult. Uh, so determination is a prerequisite. Sincere person will be determined, right? So determination is built in. If there is sincerity, there is determination. If and for the other side, if there is no determination, then obviously to begin with there is no sincerity. Now determination is also not there. So both become, then it becomes very difficult. So for a sincere person, it is very easy. For a person who is not sincere and who is not determined, the process is very, very difficult. So all we need to do is just remain with devotees who are sincere, remain with devotees who are determined, and learn from them, and then we'll make progress. Otherwise, left to ourselves, very difficult. And that is the power of devotee association. Actually, that's the power of good association, great association. Like, for example, if you simply associate with Krishna, nicely chanting Hare Krishna, then that also will have a best effect, right? Or if you're simply associating sincerely with Prabhupada's books, that also has great effect. Or if you're not able to do either of these, and we are sincerely associating with sincere devotees, that will also have an effect. Mm. So sincerity is very, very important, appropriate association. And for those who are not able to do this and who are not determined, process becomes very difficult. Munaya padavim yasya nissangenor na vidurmrugayantopi tivra yoga samadhina. Narada Muni continued, after trying this process for many, many births and remaining unattached to material contamination, placing themselves continuously in trance and executing many types of austerities, many mystic yogis were unable to find the end of the path of God realization. So Munayaha, Tivra Yoga. So those munis who did Tivra Yoga, severe austerities, uh, but no vidu, they could not understand even after many births. So it's not easy. So it's still discouraging. Ato nivartatamesha nirbandhastava nishpalaha yatishyati bhavan kale shreyasam samupastite. For this reason, my dear boy, you should not endeavor for this. It will not be successful. It is better you go home. When you're grown up by the mercy of the Lord, you will get a chance for these mystic performances. At that time, you may execute this function. Generally, a thoroughly trained person takes to spiritual perfection at the end of his life. Wow, one more power packed statement. So we have to be thoroughly trained to achieve perfection. Fortunate are brahmacharis who go through good training in ISKCON. But unfortunately, not all grihasthas go through this at all, and many of them actually run away from any kind of training. They want to just live whimsically. They want to do bhakti just the way they want. which is pretty much useless because we are not going to achieve perfection at the end of life. And to be thoroughly trained means to surrender to authority, to accept. Of course, authority means it has to be as per Shastra, not like, again, not whatever I think is right. So one who goes through this kind of a proper training, he will take to spiritual perfection at the end of his life. According to the Vedic system, therefore, life is divided into four stages. In the beginning, one becomes a brahmachari, student who studies Vedic knowledge under the authoritative guidance of a spiritual master. He then becomes a householder and executes household duties according to the Vedic process. Then the householder becomes a vanaprastha. And gradually, when he is mature, he renounces household life and vanaprastha life also and takes to sannyas, completely devoting himself to devotional service. So, this is what we have to do. Generally, people think that childhood is meant for enjoying life by engaging oneself in sports and play. Youth is meant for enjoying the company of young girls, and one becomes old at the time of death. Then he may try to execute devotional service or a mystic yoga process. But this conclusion is not for devotees who are actually serious. The great sage Narada is instructing Dhruva just to test him. Actually, the direct order is that from any point of life, one should begin rendering devotional service. But it is the duty of the spiritual master to test the disciple to see how seriously he desires to execute devotional service. Then he may be initiated. So, this is not necessarily true for devotees. This is for general janta, and Guru is supposed to test this desire. It says who needs to be initiated? One for whom the only goal of life is to achieve Krishna, and he's become serious about it. He says, okay, now I had enough time pass. One leg here, one leg there. Now I'm going to put both my legs. I'm going to completely commit. Diksha is for that person, not for a person who is just saying, okay, now my social status will improve. So for like, this is important, right? Direct order is that any point of life one should begin rendering devotional service, not that one has to wait, saying that you grow up, then you do. No, at any point of life. But here Narada Muni is just testing how serious Dhruva is about devotional service. Again, multiple times Prabhupada is saying, then he may be initiated. So clearly there is some amount of testing that needs to be done before one gets initiated. Of course, the testing can be in the form of some exam paper or some interview, whatever it is, but it should not become some mechanical checklist process. As in, okay, I just finished this. We know that so many people just copy paste answers in, when you give all these, whatever, Diksha level papers, etc. So that's really of no use. Uh, so what I do personally is, even if they've written whatever paper they've written, I will ask questions which are not there in the paper, but which are very, very basic that everybody needs to know. It's like, why do you accept Krishna as the Supreme Lord? What are the three uh, ways in which a Supreme Lord can be understood, right? Or whatever. Like, so, very basics. How is the material world created? Why are we here? What are we? Like, basically, what is the goal of our life? How do we achieve that goal? Some simple things about Krishna consciousness, which if people are not able to answer, then we train them. We give them answers. And we tell them, now, remember this. Now come back again. Again, next week, again interview. Right? See, because copy paste is not useful. Because the guru, initiating guru, is depending on his disciples to make the right recommendations. Because he needs to test and he's following the process, but he doesn't have bandwidth because of number of disciples, etc., etc. So he is given that service to people, other people whom he trusts. No, we have to take this process very seriously. And it's not about just, okay, has somebody answered this question paper? I know devotees who don't know by heart even Prabhupada Pranam Mantra, right? And then they have to be sent back saying that first go, learn all this. Do you know Mangalarti? Do you know Tulsi? Like at least basics. We have to, if you don't teach them before initiation, then they're gone. Nobody will then come back. They don't want anything after that. I'm done. Who are you? What is our relationship? Why are you bothering me? Right? Generally, that's what happens. So all training that is required absolutely has to be given, and has to be given before one is recommended for initiation, because that is the only time when they possibly will take things seriously, because after that they don't really care. Yes, is with most devotees. I mean, not that it happens with every devotee, but this is what happens. Mm. So again, my approach is, I want to see devotees take up serious responsibility in the mission of Srila Prabhupada based on their ability. Serious responsibility doesn't mean like throw him into, something that he or she cannot handle. No, whatever their abilities are, that we will know, we will understand, and then we say, okay, now this area you take up, right? So then we will see if there is willingness. There is no willingness to accept local authorities or instructions, then what will they accept? Guru. Then they will just dismiss Guru's instructions, which is not good for them at all, right? So we have to teach them, saying that, yeah, this is what it is. Take something up, surrender to instruction, do it. Then we can understand, okay, yeah, now I'm confident, saying I can now recommend this person because he's surrendered, he's sincere, he's trying, also knows basic philosophy, which is absolutely required for us. Actually, this philosophy is more important than many of the questions which we actually have in the question papers, because many of those questions nobody will actually even mean. Just copy paste from books. That's all. Nothing. I've seen so many papers. There are no realizations in those answers. They're just copy paste. That's all. Go back to other people who already written the answers. Ask them where it is, which book, which page, copy. So that's not testing. That's not testing. So these things have to be taken seriously, because Prabhupada is clearly saying one cannot be simply initiated just like, oh yeah, okay, you start chanting 16 rounds and we will ask orally for following four regulative principles. You answered this paper, okay, chalo. No, not not good enough. I know some devotees who are very, very strict. Not me. I mean, other devotees who are very strict about initiation, and people are afraid, oh, if I go to this person for interview, I'm gone. And that's how it has to be. Of course, the person should not be whimsical and then go into some hardcore. Of course, if somebody is a preacher, then go into hardcore philosophy. But for most of the people, it's general understanding of philosophy which is required, which we should test, which is the service given by Guru to people, to other devotees. Okay, let me stop here. Any questions, thoughts? All okay? Okay. Even Bhagavatam ki jai, Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhyo Bhagavatinanam Bhavnebhyo Vaishnavabhyo Namo Krishna ki jai.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare
Sorry,
Krishna.
can I ask a question?
Yeah, please,
Hare,
Mata.
Hare Krishna. Prabhu, like during the lecture, you said you should know how to discriminate, right, Prabhu?
Yeah.
Now, like most of us, I mean, okay, talking about now when we initially come into Krishna consciousness, or we go to some guru or something, how do we learn to discriminate? Now, Dhruva Maharaj, now we talk about Bali Maharaj most of the time. See, like I don't know, say Brahmin, they've just asked for 3 steps. As a young, small Brahmin, Bali Maharaj, suppose he was not Narayan, he could have easily given the 3 given. But when his guru told him he's Narayan, He understood that he's Narayan, so he discriminated for his guru. He like otherwise he was also indebted to his guru because he had given him a life, isn't it? There's so many other cases where like you're either indebted for with your brother because you're under his shelter or under the king's shelter and all that. In this case, it was a very clear cut this thing that he knew that it is Narayan, so he could very easily give away his guru. Many a times we see in our material life, we accept gurus, we are blindly following because I don't know whether your sense gratifications are fulfilled there or it's it's just a picture poster cover. And even when we initially come, many of us, they come for attraction of prasadam or to see the deities. Like even in our temple, we see aju baju ke jitne aate, they come in for prasadam time. So slowly, but how does the discrimination come in? How do we understand this is right? Because it's not karma which brings you there. It is Krishna's mercy, the thoughts which bring you there. And to get that mercy that we are in the right society, we are having the right philosophy, how does the discrimination come? How do you really get along? How to know what sort of a guru to take?
Yeah, so see, which is the whole process for us, right? Which is why in ISKCON, we start off, especially for new people, we tell people saying that Prabhupada is our first Shiksha Guru, right? Which means that we have to first get Shiksha from Prabhupada. Now, how do we get Shiksha from Prabhupada? We have to read Prabhupada's books, we have to hear Prabhupada's lectures. Now, if we don't do this sincerely, we will never understand what is right, what is wrong. What is happening today in ISKCON is people don't read Prabhupada's books, people don't hear Prabhupada's lectures, people hear everything else which is out there in the internet. That's not Shiksha Guru. There's no guarantee that we will get the message as it is. The only basis for us to understand what is right or wrong for us is Srila Prabhupada. Very simple known fact. Right? So unless we have heard Prabhupada, I'm not saying hearing classes. I'm saying reading Prabhupada's books and understanding Prabhupada's books. If we don't do that, there is no way we can understand what is right, what is wrong. Then it is called sentimental practice of bhakti. Right? Now, even if somebody is sentimental but sincere, Krishna will show them the path. If somebody is sentimental and not sincere is where the problem lies. And that is majority of the people. Sentimental, not sincere. Right? So then the responsibility comes on the shoulders of preachers to bring that maybe not sincere, sentimental people to at least sincerity and give them the right knowledge from Prabhupada's books and not misguide them. Right? So, which is why I was saying people who take up the responsibility of representing their, the parampara, in not just gurus, but their disciples, senior disciples, preachers, etc. It's a huge task. It's a huge task. Right? Unfortunately, yeah, see, people are simple minded, not very philosophical, but they have to be shown the right path. It's not that everybody has to become a pandit, a scholar, right? But everybody needs to know right versus wrong. Everybody needs to be trained. Everybody needs to be told. If you don't do that, and if you just say, okay, it's fine. So every devotee I come in touch with, I ask, who is your Shiksha Guru, or who is guiding you? Because otherwise we can't just remain independent. Of course, there are some devotees who can remain independent, who are so completely fixed in Prabhupada's books. Oh, Mataji got dropped off. Okay. So fixed in Prabhupada's books that maybe they can be independent, but still it's very dangerous. So the idea is that we have to take up this whole process of reading Prabhupada books and then knowing what is right, what is wrong. And for preachers, they have to direct devotees so that they can actually know what is right, what is wrong, and not misguide. Right? Sorry, Mataji,
Sorry.
I think you got dropped off.
Yeah, sorry. I don't know what happened. Probably
Yeah.
got disconnected. I just
Yeah,
joined from
yeah,
again.
no. Sure. No, yeah, that's all I was saying. So basically, Prabhupada's books, reading, hearing, for people who can read and hear Prabhupada, for those who cannot, who are maybe, not literate or not philosophically oriented, etc. For them, it becomes a responsibility of the people whom they come in touch with, who are preachers, etc., to help them understand Prabhupada's books, to help them understand the philosophy and give them guidance to go on the right path. And that becomes a responsibility of preachers, heavy responsibility.
Prabhuji, this is within our society, right? But suppose you're just a neophyte. There's so many, organizations which are mushroomed all around. How, and then you all are so we all are so vulnerable to it. How do we see this? Like again, I'm repeating. Like this is just Krishna's mercy that we come across somebody or come into a society like Krishna consciousness. Then where is the part to discriminate, Prabhu? Because I
For
see
us
this
or
in my
for
life.
outsiders?
Yeah, even
For
yeah.
us or for outsiders,
For
Mataji?
outside, as a neophyte when we come in, when
No, which is
outsiders,
the point, right? See,
yeah,
outsiders, when they
outsiders.
fortunately come in touch with ISKCON, they will come in touch with some preacher, right? Like, okay, if I'm doing a program in Ulimau, people are coming to Ulimau, fortunate they came to ISKCON center, and now it becomes my responsibility to make sure that I tell them right versus wrong. But if I don't do that, and of course, I mean, preaching means very, very sensitive, taking care of them, making sure that they actually feel wanted. And it's not like day one we're going to start, hammering them, right? But we have to make sure that people understand they realize, they experience, right? Experience the beauty of Krishna consciousness, and then slowly and steadily we start training them. Which is why I'm very, very wary about giving, like super fast Shiksha levels, this, that, and all that. I'm very, very slow, but careful, because it's not about just answering those papers. It's about their own life. It's about their practices, etc. So, and then, yeah, eventually they have to come to understanding all this before they get initiated. So the process is there. And it's the response to the preacher to take care of that and help people to walk through that. I know so many people who just cannot understand how much ever same thing 150 times I repeat, it will not go into their uh, brain, just because the materially they are not so qualified, but they're sincere. So then we tell them, just these are the things, just follow. Anything else, don't follow. Come and ask us. If you're doing something else. So like that, giving, helping people, eh, considering their own limitations, etc. But we have to help people. But eventually, they have to be trained to come to know all these things, and not like somebody was asking what some guru in Vrindavan saying that, are they authentic? So we have to understand. Okay, fine. I don't know, but I'll at least come and ask somebody who might know, so that I'll protect myself. So at least people within ISKCON, we have to give them the protection. Otherwise, what is the point? But we are so wary about telling that others are wrong. Sometimes, we feel like, oh, no, am I offending somebody? No, if they are not parampara, telling that they are not parampara is not offending at all. It's just stating the fact. So if we don't protect them, then it's our responsibility, and we are not doing our responsibility.
But like what I actually wanted to put across. Now there's so many other this thing. Now you got Radha Goswami, like my mother-in-law is following something.
Yeah.
That she said they are initiated. How do we, like when we tell her, like she'll say no. They don't they tell you not to eat non-veg, but they don't ask you to give up tea, coffee, or to give up onion, garlic, or wear the tulsi
They'll come
mala.
back, Mataji. They'll come back again. They have to come back again, right? So if they are not willing to hear that this is what this is what our acharyas have said, they'll say no. This is what our acharyas said. Okay, fine, go ahead. I mean, we can't. If somebody is not open to hearing, we can't help them, right? But if they're sincere, Krishna will help them. If they're really sincere, Krishna will help them, right? Otherwise, they'll have to come back, maybe.
Like I know so many people who follow Lord Durga, and like they get whatever benefit, like you want a son, or and they reach new height. Prabhu,
Yeah.
even to go to a hospital, they'll ask their guru and they do it, and it get and they'll say, "No, if you try teaching them about Krishna, they do not listen. They will not budge
No, they're very
because
far. They're very far from this, Mataji. They are still in, demigod worship and material benefits. Whoever that guru is useless in this case, right? I mean,
that means, Prabhu, like we cannot discriminate. We say it's not karma. Then what brings us to that this thing?
no,
The
no, no, no.
intelligence
Okay,
is not given
multiple
us by.
questions. Okay, you're
Ah.
asking multiple questions. So one is, how does a person even come in touch with
Yeah.
the, like authentic
Yes.
organization?
Yes.
That is again our
Karma.
sincerity, intent
Okay.
from, no, not necessarily. See, coming to bhakti is not karma. Coming to
Yes.
ISKCON is not karma.
Yes.
Going to that guru who is going to guide you on Durga worship is karma.
Okay.
Okay, but coming to Prabhupada is not karma. Coming
Oh.
to pure like devotional service is not karma. Coming to material worship is karma.
Okay. Yeah. Got
Right?
it.
But coming to Prabhupada is some sukruti that we have done in our past lives, right? Or some devotion we did. How did we do that devotion? Again goes back to some service we have done to some devotees as Agnata Sukruti sometime in our life, right? And that has nothing to do with punya. That has nothing to do with material punya or papa. So that is why this is a fortune. Coming to Krishna is a fortune which happens to souls who are really sincere. Who are really sincere. Now you might say, okay, if we are sincere, we came to why then we are not further sincere. That's just conditioning. It will go.
Yeah.
It's a very small thing, the conditioning, which is why I said, no, Shivaram Swami Maharaj in his book, Shuddha Bhakti Chintamani, he says we are just few steps away from Goloka. Whoever have come into ISKCON are just few steps away from Goloka, right? Which means that our contamination is really insignificant. It's a very tiny thing, which if we desire, we can just quickly overcome. We are not able to overcome it just because we don't want really to get overcome it. That's all, right? But we are so fortunate compared to the zillions of jivas out there who don't even know where to go, what to do, and they're like searching and searching and searching. So we should not throw away. That is why every Vaishnava has to be respected. Anybody who's chanting Hare Krishna has to be respected. This is the whole point, right? But then we look at them and say, okay, oh, they are, they are doing this, they are working, I'm paying them salary. Like I was telling them other instance in some other place that I know where, people, I'm giving salary to this person, so let me treat that person like my slave, my servant. No, every Vaishnava, I mean, anybody who's come to ISKCON, taken a bead bag and started chanting Hare Krishna, irrespective of how ignorant they seem to be from outside, right, or how uninformed they are, they have to be respected because this is after zillions of lifetimes, right? A jiva has come to this. But it's also our responsibility of some people who are slightly more advanced than them to help them, guide them, give them the right path. Many people I know are so misguided because they come to temple and they take Tulsi Mala and come and start chanting. And they tell, oh, I started chanting on Tulsi Mala. I say, why? Who told? No, I went to the temple, they gave me Tulsi Mala. I asked, they gave. I said, like, yeah, this is the problem. We should not keep Tulsi Mala in the counter. We should not keep Kanti Mala in the counter. We should ask people, are you following rules? What rules are you following? You can't become, just one shop. So things like this. I mean, in Hulimava, all Kanti Malas are with me. We have only wooden beads or neem beads, right? We don't have anything else because we don't want to give an opportunity for people to make mistake at all. Built-in training. Right. So I mean, it's a big responsibility. That's why, if you just close our eyes to all this and just say, okay, it's fine, everything is fine. People are coming, going, having prasadam. That's okay at one level. But giving them guidance is our real responsibility that we have to do. Okay, I think we're time up. So we'll close here. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Bheda Patitanam Bhanapi Vaishnava. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Danvat.